Steve again, and hopefully since we've talked last, I guess I'm talking to myself. I think we talked, right? Since we've talked last, hopefully you've started to think about, and hopefully it's been working in your mind of what's this dream for. And hopefully you've come to that realization. So what we're going to talk about today is goal setting. Once we realize what that dream is, now we need to set some goals to start working towards that dream, to make that dream a reality. So how do we do that? The first thing we need to do in goal setting, and it sounds so simple, and I know some of you are going to laugh and make comments like, well, I'm right here. Because what we need to do is we need to figure out where we are. Where are we? When we go to goal set, first thing we need to do is where are we in the grand scheme of things? And the way to do that is do what we call a brain dump. Just dump everything you can think about that dream of yours, whatever that dream may be. If it's starting a business, if it's starting a YouTube channel, if it's volunteering at certain places, if it's starting a non-for-profit, if it's helping others in a certain way, whatever it may be, whatever that dream is, making more commissions at work, getting a promotion, working harder to get a promotion, whatever that dream is, do a brain dump of everything you can think of about that. Just everything. The end of where you want to be, everything in between to where you are now, and where you are now is where you have to start. So realize where you are. Where you are, when you start looking at that brain dump, the stuff that you need to know, is it already in your mind? And you just need to do it. Is it that simple? If not, then what you need to do is you need to set some time aside, and maybe it's a day, maybe it's 5 days, maybe it's a week, maybe 2 weeks, whatever that time frame is, you need to learn how to do those other steps. If you want to start a business, you need to learn how. Go on your state's website. Your state has a website. I know Indiana does. I don't know about, I would imagine all other states do, where you can go online and read about how to test how to check the name of the company you want to make sure that statewide it's not being used already. How to register that name of a company. So you can learn all that stuff, and in this goal setting, you have to be able to take those steps. Now, here's the big thing on how people hurt themselves in goal setting is they make the goal so large that it's hard to obtain, and then we get depressed, we get discouraged, we get down on ourselves, and before you know it, again, that dream's pushed to the side. So here's what we need to do in goal setting. We need to make sure that the goals are little steps. The best way I can describe this is, I heard a story once and read a bit about it, so I'm going to tell it in my own words. But a successful football coach, don't remember the football coach's name, but the way that he would treat each season was the same. Because you have to take things down to the basics, and that's the way it is with goal setting, where I'm talking about those minimal steps. It's basics. So the way he would do things is every year he'd get the new freshmen in. College football coach. He'd get the new freshmen in, and he'd start talking to them about how great they've done in the past, the history of the football team, how he's changed everything in the school history, how they're such a successful school, and then he'd start telling the students. He'd say, "Now I want you guys to look around," and the majority of you know most of the people around you, most of your peers now. You've either played with them on other teams throughout your career, you've played against them throughout your career, but you can see the talent that is here. Then he'd put a schedule of what their games are that year. And he'd say, "Now looking around here, who thinks we're good enough to beat this school right here?" And the class just goes crazy. They say, yeah, that's us. And then he says, "Now who thinks we can beat this school?" And they go crazy. "Now, when we're doing that, who thinks we can get this title?" And by now, he's got the whole room pumped, and they're screaming, "Yeah, who thinks we can win that championship?" And they're going crazy. And he looks at him and says, "Then we've already lost." If you're already thinking that far ahead, then we're done. He says we need to take this down to the basics on this. And here's the basics. He'd get out a football. This is a football. And I can imagine the students looking around, kind of just looking at each other like, yeah. I mean, they've played since they were, 4 4 or 5 years old, most of them. So then he says the object of this game is to get this football down to the opposing side goal. Now, how we're going to do that is we're going to have a whole bunch of plays that we are going to learn to get that ball down to the other side. Each one of those plays can be anywhere from 2 to 12 seconds long, 15 seconds long. He says, so what I want you to concentrate on is not what teams we're going to beat and how bad we can beat them. I want you to concentrate on winning every single one of those 2 to 15 second plays. And if you concentrate on winning every one of those 2 to 15 second plays, you win that play, and then the next play, and then the next play, we're going to win that game. But we're not going to win it by saying, are we going to win this game, and look at the big picture. Same with goal setting. If we have a goal that we want, this dream of ours, and we want to achieve that goal, we can't just say, here's my goal, here's my dream, I want to do this. We need to get down to the basics and break it down to little steps. If you get to the point to where you aren't hitting some goals that you're setting, look at it again. Maybe you can break that goal down to a smaller step. Get it down even a little bit more simple, a little bit more basic to make it easier. Remember, goals are there to push us to achieve that end thing, but we don't want to push ourselves to the point to where we create our own hardships and failures. We want to be smart about goal setting and set those goals so they can be hit. There is nothing wrong with having a tiny little goal and hitting it, as long as you know that that goal is part of the next goal, and then hit that one. It's 2 to 15 second plays. So start out with where you are. Where am I in this big picture of goal setting? Where do I want to be? Now, in that brain dump, look at the end result. Where do I want to be? And then work backwards. In order to be there, what needs to happen before that? What are some things I can think of that need to happen? What are some things I can think of that need to happen before that? And work backwards or forwards. Usually backwards, for me anyway, a little bit more successful, because then you can take the end result and look at the time frame of when you want to get there. You know, if you're working full time and you want to do another job, a part-time job, or you want to start something, you want to help someone this way, whatever it may be, and you only have weekends, remember, you've only got 52 opportunities in a year. And that's what we need to remind ourselves, because sometimes in our mind, we look at that big picture again, not those little plays, and we think, oh, I've got a whole year to get this done. Not if you only have weekends, you don't. You only have 52. What if you can only do it on paychecks? And you only take a little bit out of each paycheck and set it aside, and you get paid bi-weekly. That's 26 opportunities. So 26 opportunities to hit that goal. So when you break it down and look at it that way, it has to be a realization in your mind of each little baby step to get to that big goal. So when you get there, that's going to be the joy. But the time getting there can be difficult. So let's make that difficult time a little bit easier by breaking it down to the basics and a lot of little steps to get to the bigger steps in between. If this is helpful at all, you know, the biggest thing to remember, basics, little steps, comment down below. Let me know what some of your goals are. If there's anything that I can input to give any advice, any help, I'd be glad to. If there's anything that you have accomplished that took you a long time to figure out, comment that down there. I'm willing to bet there's someone out there looking for the exact same thing that you just struggled with that you can help. And remember, my belief, what's this dream for, isn't just for us, ourselves. It's to help others along the way. So if you have some good advice, something that you found your way through, comment down below. If you have some questions and hardships of how to get through those little steps that you've divided it down to, comment down below. We'll see if we can help you. Like this, and of course subscribe, because what we're going to do next videos is we're going to talk about when life happens, the things that you run into. Now that we've got our goal set, life is going to happen. We're going to run into speed bumps. We're going to run into other difficult times. But those difficult times, the old cliches, they make us stronger. We're going to talk about some cliches too, find out how to dissect those and see the reality in those. So, again, thanks for watching. And hopefully you're getting one step closer to find out what's this dream for. Take care.